Deacon found me in the office photocopying a 60-page document, and he asked me if that was the written form of my homily for today. The good news is it's not. Just a couple pages. Simple question. I love those questions. Just a simple question. What is the best way to bring together two groups that do not get along? If you have two groups, they do not get along at all, perhaps they even hate one another, what is the best way to bring those two groups together? Any takers? Love? Did you say love? Food. Food covers a multitude of problems, absolutely. Probably the best way to bring two groups together that do not get along is to find a third group or person that they both hate. And you unite them together against their common enemy, right? It's a great plan. Two groups do not get along. You find one that they both don't like, and you try to unite them. I've seen this actually happen multiple times. And you and I have witnessed it in the gospel today. That's what it relates to. We have the Pharisees and the Herodians. They hate one another. The Herodians were supporters of Roman rule and the Roman Empire and the Roman government ruling over the people. The Pharisees hated the Herodians. The Pharisees were Jewish nationalists that violently opposed Roman occupation and Roman rule over the Jewish people. They could not be more opposed to one another. But the one thing that they held in common, neither group liked what Jesus was teaching. Neither of them liked it. And so they united together, and this question that we heard was a beautiful question, really. It was a beautiful question. It was a perfect question. Is it lawful to pay the census tax or not? And if Jesus would give a yes or a no answer, he would be in a lot of trouble. Because if Jesus said, yes, it is fair to pay the temple tax, then the Pharisees would really consider him against the faith. He would be kind of a heretic. He would be one who would not be in line with the Jewish people, and they would be able to get rid of him. But if Jesus said, no, it's not fair to pay the temple tax, then the Herodians would be out to get him and almost accuse him of treason, not paying what is rightly owed to the Roman government. It was a perfect question. The only flaw with their plan was that they were dealing with God himself. That was the only flaw, and Jesus comes up with the perfect answer. Imagine my surprise, he comes up with the perfect answer. Jesus comes up with the perfect answer and says, well, let me see the coin. Whose image is this? Caesar's. Well, if it's Caesar's image, it must belong to him. Give it back. But whose image is in you? God's. So give to Caesar what belongs to him, but give yourself to God. Going back all the way to the book of Genesis, created in the image and the likeness of God, each one of us. It's a great question. And why is that really important for us today? I suppose it's really important because we're all baptized. And by our baptism, we have the image of God dwelling within us. We are created in that image and likeness from the moment of our conception. We really take on that image as we are baptized and become a member of the body of Christ. And so the simple question maybe for us to ponder this Sunday afternoon is, do we really live in a way that's consistent with this image? Is our physical work, our physical actions, our words, all of what we do consistent with this image of God? Consistency is kind of something important. I talked about this a couple months ago at all of the masses, so I won't repeat what I said there. But it is an important point. If you think for a moment, a few levels outside the church, we like consistency. Not that long ago, we saw the whole controversy with Ray Rice and the incident in the elevator where he got into a scuffle with his fiancée, and the NFL got involved. And they got involved, maybe a little slow in the starting gate, but they got involved. And to say, no, if you're a member of the NFL, what you do on the field and the locker room, there's got to be some consistency in a code of ethics to what you're doing in the rest of your life. I have a successor. I knew we would get somebody who wants to come and take over. This is perfect. Perfect. I love it. It's great. So there's... Even in football, a level of consistency, we get upset if we see professional athletes not living in a way consistent with their notoriety. Not naming any names, if you take that to the area of politics, if you take it to the church, not only the Catholic Church, but any church, the area of education, any type of teacher or professor, we expect there to be a consistent behavior inside the assembly chamber, inside the church, inside the classroom, as well as outside of those places. And so often in the news we perhaps see a political leader, a church leader, an educator not behaving in their private life in the way consistent with their role. That sense of consistency is important, and the gospel's calling us to live in that consistency of the image of Christ that is within us. What does that consistent way of living mean for us? Well, one of the changes that I've enjoyed making, not everybody's enjoyed me making them, but I enjoyed making, are having the overnight retreats with our candidates for confirmation and our 8th graders. I've enjoyed that because it really gives me about a good 36 hours with our young people to spend quality time with no cell phones, no iPods, no laptops, no other electronic device, and we can engage in conversation. And in the 3 retreats, the overnight ones, that I've had so far here at St. Greg's with our young people, they've been wonderful experiences. And there's a common denominator that's kind of come up on all 3 of these retreats. The exact language was a little different, but there was a common denominator, a question that came up, which almost put me in the same bind that Jesus was in today, and unfortunately I'm not as bright as Jesus was. The question that kept coming up over and over again, well, if God really loves us, and God really wants us to be happy, and God really forgives us, then why does that not mean that we can do whatever we want that will make us happy, and we'll all be in heaven anyways? Question has come up on every overnight retreat that we've had. And, it's not an easy yes or no answer. On one level, yes, Jesus wants us to be happy. Yes, on every level, Jesus is the perfection of love, and his love for us is perfect, and within the power of that love, yes, he does forgive us. However, we need to desire that forgiveness. We must humbly ask for that forgiveness, and we must really radically in our mind, heart, and soul desire to change to become more like him and live in his image. Difficult question to answer, but a question reflective of the times in which we live. I dare say the majority of funerals I've had in the last decade, every single person wants to hear that their loved one immediately went to heaven, and we skip over the whole question of being judged, as is very clear in both the Old Testament and New, and to live our lives in a way according to that judgment. So the real question should be, if you really do believe that you're created in the image of God, if you really do believe that that image of God is within you, and if you really do believe that God loves you and God really does forgive you, would you not want to live in a fashion responding to that love, that forgiveness, that belief? I remember a number of years ago when I was vocation director, going around to the schools, and I was at one of the Catholic high schools. And I don't really want to get into the Canisius St. Joe's debate, so I won't tell you which school it was. It was located, though, on Kenmore Avenue. And, and I remember going there for their career fair, and they invited me every year. And I remember we were always paired into groups, and the students rotated around, so through the course of the day, they heard us all. And I remember I was paired up with an accountant. I knew I could take him. I used to be one. I could take him in the talk, not a problem. So yeah, there was an accountant, engineer, a little harder, but I thought I could take him. But then I really went down when we learned we had a Secret Service agent in our group. And I said, we're all going down on this one because he's going to be the focus of attention. Well, a little to my surprise, who stole the day? The accountant. I was very proud of my former heritage. And this young man, a graduate of St. Joe's, and working his first year in one of the large firms, we used to call them the Big Eight, told a story. And in the story, he said he was working on an audit, and the partner working with him came into him and said, I know you're working on this audit, I'd like you to do the following, and went on to explain, and the partner left. And as the young man described the story, he said, I knew that I could not do ethically what he asked me to do. He was in his first year of employment, a very difficult situation to be in. If he said yes to doing what he was asked, he would be in violation of some ethics. If he said no, he'd be on the unemployment line. And as he said to the young men, he went home that night and prayed. And he went to work the next morning. And obviously the Spirit of God was within him from his prayer. He went to the partner's office, and he said, it was perfect. He said, I am sure I misunderstood what you told me to do. And I thought I heard you say this, but I must be mistaken because I cannot do that for the following reasons. Wasn't that a perfect answer? The partner told him, you did not hear me incorrectly. And thank you, because at times we all need to be reminded of our ethics. Tough situations that all of us are in, if it be at work, if it be at school, if it be in a couple of weeks as we vote, if it be in any circle, to live to the image of God. And so maybe the real question that we have this day, do we really live always in that image of God? Or do we rather give to Caesar, meaning some other political, social, or popular thought, to give in to that way of thinking?